Thanks for joining us on 6 Plus for a special edition of the Gone Cold Collection. I'm Baylee Bates, and for over 2 years I have been working with local law enforcement to look deeper into cases that remain unsolved. Some cases are just a couple years old, or in others, victims and families are waiting decades for answers and justice. A major piece to solving any case, no matter when or where it happened, is DNA. Fortunately for law enforcement, prosecutors, and victims' families, DNA testing and technology is only getting better at cracking cases. I got to take a tour of a local crime lab to learn more about the crucial operations that happen inside. It looks like any other building, but inside, groundbreaking work is underway.
We receive approximately 100 cases per month.
The DPS Crime Lab in Waco serves around 20 different counties, helping law enforcement find answers for crimes. Brent Watson is the DNA section supervisor and technical leader at the Waco Lab. He says technology has advanced so much they don't need high-quality samples or nearly as much of them to find potential answers.
You only need a stain that's a fraction of a blood drop. And then to even be more sensitive, just by touching certain items or having contact with certain items, it's possible that you can shed your skin cells onto that, where we can come behind you, swab that up, and then develop your DNA profile.
He says testing also goes quicker than it used to, which helps Detective Michael Austin with Waco PD as he works on unsolved crimes.
This is one case. There's scene diagrams, lab reports.
He is assigned to work on the department's 120 cold cases, a very tedious process he is dedicated to.
You want to bring closure to the family, justice for the victim.
Cases can go unsolved for a number of reasons.
Sometimes the suspect's in the case, but there just wasn't enough to make that arrest.
Or there wasn't the right technology around back in the day that could give as clear answers as it does now.
That's a game changer. That you can go back to some of these old cases and look at some evidence and have it tested, and then some work can begin to try to identify a person to that profile.
That's why it's important for him to partner with Watson and the Waco Lab.
We'll try to, explore a little bit deeper on some of those unsolved cases to see if we can help them anyway, because usually they're at a dead end at that point.
Waco Police Department has sent many pieces of evidence to the DPS Crime Lab in hopes it will lead to closing a case. There is one that is still left open, and experts say despite its old age, DNA can prove to be useful. The case is the unsolved murder of 10-year-old Sheila Finch. It happened in 1989, and to this day, her killer has not been identified. It's hard to see past the beauty surrounding Lake Waco. But for Detective Michael Alston with the Waco Police Department's Special Crimes Unit, there's a spot he'll always remember.
I wish I didn't, but I do.
A crime scene confirming a young life had been stolen.
You got a 10-year-old girl who's just snatched up, basically, and she's gone. Her life's taken from her.
It was Tuesday, October 17th, 1989. 10-year-old Sheila Finch rode her bike to a grocery store at Dutton and 26th, just blocks from Grandma's.
The reason why she did was to use the payphone to call her Aunt Trina to come pick her and Grandma up so they could get a ride to school to get her re-enrolled back at the elementary school that she'd gone to before here in Waco.
But Sheila never returned, and the phone call would be the last time anyone heard from her. Law enforcement launched a house-by-house search for the missing girl.
It expanded all the way up and went over to Valley Mills Drive.
As it turned out, the search area was not nearly big enough.
She would have to be transported there by vehicle.
Sheila's little body was found near Lake Waco in the Spiegelville area, more than 10 miles from that grocery store.
Back in this area right here is where she's found at.
2 anglers found her body on the banks of a creek in the same clothes she left Grandma's in. She had been stabbed multiple times. The search for her killer began with detectives following up on every lead.
People saying they saw a such and such car stop and talking to a girl, or somebody saw a girl over here riding a pink bicycle. Everything was followed up on. Nothing led to Sheila.
3 years later, detectives made an arrest.
Like I said, it was a circumstantial case, circumstantial evidence in it, and so it never got prosecuted.
Justice for Sheila went cold again until Alston took another look.
Knew that there was a lot of stuff there that could possibly contains some DNA evidence, which may lead us to a suspect.
He partnered up with the Texas Department of Public Safety's Crime Lab in Waco.
We're testing clothing, we're testing all kinds of things in regards on this case right here. that were found with her.
Any type of evidence that may contain biological fluid or cells, we will process that for the possible presence of DNA and try to develop a DNA profile from it.
Brent Watson, the DNA section supervisor and technical leader at the lab, says despite being an older case, DNA results are still possible.
As long as the preservation of the evidence is intact, then we really have a good chance of getting DNA profiles from it, regardless of its age.
He says technology has advanced so much they don't need high-quality samples or nearly as many of them to get a match.
They can determine whether or not that is beneficial to them or if there's any additional testing that may need to be done.
Alston hopes the DNA testing could be the evidence needed to crack this case that's gone cold.
I have some thoughts of where it might be going and leading to, but I can't do anything with that until I have something else to go with.
Sheila's grandmother died years later in 2012 without answers as to what happened to her 10-year-old granddaughter. Now we take a look at the case of a Little River Academy woman who one investigator says was executed and dumped in a creek. A plea for answers, a pair of siblings is asking you to help solve their sister's murder and end an investigation that's left them with hardly any answers for more than 2 decades. It's a scene of new growth. East Amity Road at Salado Creek.
You have new put right over the top of old, and that's sometimes what happens in these cold cases. You know, Mary's been looking for justice for a while.
It's also where Detective Corey Powell's investigation began and where he hopes it will end.
He or she may have thought they've got away with this, but it's not done.
March 22nd, 2003. It was a gloomy day that turned even darker.
A citizen was passing over the bridge. He noticed Mary in the creek.
43-year-old Mary Jane Lara was floating in the water.
She would have been right here near where this pillar's at now.
She had a single gunshot wound to the head.
To be shot is one thing, but what I will say is that she was executed.
But who pulled the trigger and how did she end up in the creek?
That's an unknown. My gut is that she was taken there, shot there.
A death that still haunts her family.
Would like them to feel what I feel sitting here talking to y'all.
We don't even rest in peace not knowing, who did this to her and what happened to her.
Julia Gerardo and Daniel Lara remembered their sister as a dedicated mom.
That is Mary Jane. That's Misty, Don, Laura. This one here, Joanne. Mary just adored them.
Who never met a stranger.
She'd give her shirt off her back for anybody.
Known for her small frame and her nickname to go with it.
Everybody knew her by Pee Wee. That's one name that nobody could ever take away from her.
But someone took so much more.
When you become the victim of murder, somebody has taken your ability to be a better person. And they stole that from Mary.
She was one person that should have never been taken away from us.
Julia says one thing still haunts her. A phone call from Mary Jane just days before her death.
She told me, sis, if anything ever happened to me, underneath the bed there's a black safe. Maybe she had a gut feeling that something was wrong.
The safe was never found. Just one more question among so many. Powell is taking another look at the case, hoping fresh eyes can provide answers.
There was 2 specific things about her clothing that stood out to me, that it could be a factor in the murder.
The investigation leading to new locations, like the Blooms Motel off I-35, the last place she was seen alive.
So she's supposedly there with friends, and they say that she left before midnight to go get some items from the store, never returned.
Another big piece to the puzzle, Mary's car. It was found abandoned off FM 93, roughly 20 miles from her body.
Mary's here, Blooms is here, the car's here, so it's almost like a triangle.
Powell says investigators found evidence in the car that could be a key to closing her case.
One of them was a lighter, so that lighter is covered in blood. So what is that about?
Perhaps the biggest clue came in just the last couple months.
We're looking at prints that were processed then that did not hit. They reran them and we got hits.
It's at least a little hope for Mary's family, including her one surviving daughter.
But I know she'll feel better when they find out.
We all will.
Yeah.
Let us have some kind of closure in this. And that's what I'm hoping for.
It's that hope Powell hangs on to as he searches for an end and justice for Mary Jane.
I know this had to have been weighing heavily on you, going on 20 years of this, and most likely we'll be seeing you soon.
Powell is hoping DNA will advance Pee Wee's case. While working on the Gone Cold collection, I've learned no single case is the same, but they can become even more challenging when you aren't able to know who your victim is. We walk you through the work that goes into dealing with a victim who's a John or Jane Doe and the issues it creates to cracking a case. It's the Hewitt Police Department's oldest cold case, and to this day, police have little answers. That's why they need your eyes to help crack this case that's gone cold. In the small city of Hewitt, crimes are few and far between.
We're normally nominated as one of the safest cities in the state of Texas.
It's one reason why some cases stick out to Hewitt Police Chief Jim Devlin.
We look at this case very often.
This box holds all the pieces that could lead to answers for the department's oldest known cold case. But after more than 4 decades,
It frustrates me to no end to say that I haven't figured this one out yet.
Devlin can't quite figure out why someone would kill this man or even who this man could be.
It's April 3rd, 1978, when this body is discovered off of what is commonly referred to as Spring Valley Road.
A young man in his late 20s or early 30s with shoulder-length hair found in a drainage culvert, shot in the head.
He was pushed up in there with a little bit of his feet sticking out. You couldn't see it from the roadway.
Devlin says he had been there a few days, already decomposing.
You can imagine being in a drainage culvert where water's flowing through. That will have a tendency to destroy a lot of the crime scene as well.
He had been discarded with few clues left behind about who he was and how he got there.
No wallet, no cash, no identification.
Found in a dress shirt like this, Levi jeans, Wellington boots, and a necklace. No fingerprint hits, and now only a bullet fragment is still available for DNA testing.
There's not enough on that fragment to even pull off any DNA. And the issue then becomes, the more you test it, the more the potential that the sample that is there, it could be degraded.
Working with the little they have, Devlin soon realized he needed more eyes on this case, and the name Disco Dan was born.
It was more so to draw attention because basically the lack of evidence that we have that relates to this case. One of the things you want to do is you want to try to put on as many eyes on a case like this as possible.
He created a Facebook page hoping to reach the right person, someone who would recognize his distinct tattoos, especially the one with the letters R and B.
We believe it's a personal tattoo, as most are. It has some initials in it. We haven't been able to coordinate what that is.
Devlin can only rely on what they've had for decades.
Forensic art has a job to do.
Like the sketches Suzanne Bolden's colleagues have done for Disco Dan. One done in the 80s, the second in 2016.
Yeah, he looks very well styled here, but if this really looks anything at all like him, somebody may recognize him, and I certainly hope so.
Bolden has been doing forensic art for nearly 3 decades and now teaches it. She says sometimes it can take time to identify someone in a recreation.
This one took 41 years.
But in cases like Disco Dan,
it's really the only thing you've got to go on. Somebody somewhere may see that and it may, like that, but it takes the right person at the right time to see something and recognize somebody.
And that's exactly what Devlin is needing after all these years.
At one point in time, the information received is going to be true and correct, and it's going to send us on a landslide path, and before you know it, we're going to end up arresting an individual, hopefully.
The Hewitt Police Department has a new chief since this story originally aired. We reached out to Chief John McGrath to find out what, if anything, has been done to further the case. He says DNA evidence was last tested several years ago, and they were told there was not enough for current testing capabilities at that time. However, his team is going to now reach out again to see if there is any advancement in the lab to get some identification. Loved ones are still searching for answers more than 30 years after a 20-year-old Coppers Cove woman vanished, but not without a trace. But to this day, the question of what happened to Elizabeth Campbell remains unanswered. Inside a home, it's not unusual to find photos of core memories and those close to you.
I wanted to remember her, what it looked like.
But for Samsoon Campbell, these photos are some of the only things she has left. She's holding on to the memory of her daughter, Elizabeth, a 20-year-old Central Texas college student who had big dreams and was dedicated to family.
Oh, she's the sweetest.
It was 35 years ago. This mother was robbed of new memories with her youngest daughter.
I miss so much every single day, 35 years. I'm thinking about why happened, why.
Those are questions that investigators have not been able to answer.
It's been painful, to be honest with you, just to see their pain. It's hard, and every time you spend time with them, you just want to make that pain go away.
Lieutenant Kevin Miller and Lieutenant Rick Counter with the Coppers Cove Police Department are assigned to Campbell's missing persons case that dates back to the night of April 25th, 1988. Elizabeth was said to be at her boyfriend's house studying when the pair got in an argument.
Elizabeth made the decision that she was going to try to walk home following that argument.
She never made it back home, and that walk turned into hitching a ride with a classmate to this building, which used to be a 7-Eleven.
There were a couple of store clerks that confirmed that she was inside the store and that she did use the store phone.
Then the investigation gets blurry. Police say she might have gotten into an unknown vehicle, and no one has heard from her since. But her disappearance wasn't without a trace.
Possible sightings in Waco and Garland, Texas, and then several years later her purse was found in Ozona.
Found more than 200 miles away, the purse had Elizabeth's ID in it. Police checked for fingerprints, but a lab would not test for DNA.
Without knowing the DNA belongs to the suspect, they would be just randomly entering unknown persons, and they refused to do that.
Turning police back to the unknown. Is Elizabeth still around today? Was she killed or abducted?
In the Colleen area, there was a problem with prostitution and potentially human trafficking. It was thought that maybe she was pulled into that somehow. Again, anytime someone is missing, there's a possibility that they left on their own, which was explored thoroughly and concluded that it's likely not the case. There were several serial killers operating in the United States during that time.
The search has never ended, bringing police to the internet and even recently to an undisclosed area.
We're just looking for any kind of remains.
It was a tip leading to another dead end, but not a waste.
We really try to follow up on all tips that we get, and we feel like we owe that to the family.
I don't care if you have guilt that you've held this information. We're beyond that. I mean, it has been 35 years. All we want is for her to come home, one way or another.
The search for answers driven by Carol Ann Hone and the rest of the Campbell family, sending and posting thousands of missing flyers all across the country. The Campbells refuse to give up.
She didn't just vanish. She's out there. Somebody knows something. I believe that we'll find her. I hope it's soon, and I hope it's in my lifetime, but I think she'll be found.
And they'll be ready for when Elizabeth comes home, just like in Samsoon's dreams.
I cried. So weird, she coming.
Coppers Cove police say there are no new developments. While they do receive tips occasionally, none have led to progressing the case. Coppers Cove Crime Stoppers has a $10,000 reward if a tip leads to the resolution or an arrest in Elizabeth's disappearance. This next cold case is not as old as some of the other ones we have featured here. The 2018 murder of Justin Bibles, an up-and-coming rapper from Central Texas. Waco Police Department says they need new information and new leads for the cold case. Meanwhile, Justin's mom says it's time for people to speak up. You can tell Zeta Bridgewater beams with grandma pride. She's also a proud mother of a man who was dedicated to serving his family.
He was a good dad, as good as he could be at his age, becoming a dad as young as he was. He made sure his kids were taken care of.
She's reminded every day that the justice system has failed her.
5 years, we're still fighting, and we're going to be still fighting.
On May 1st, 2018, 32-year-old Justin Bibles had his future taken away the moment someone shot him in the parking lot of Red Lobster in Waco.
He did not meet my son head on. He did not face him. He did not give my son a chance to protect himself. That's cowardice. So he's a coward.
Waco Police Department arrested and charged a man just days after it happened, but a McLennan County grand jury wouldn't indict him. Zeta believes more than one person was involved in Justin's death and that more people aren't speaking up.
Any given moment, it could be your child. You would want someone to speak up for your child. I'm doing as much as I can as a mom to get justice for Justin.
With no new tips and information, it's made Waco Police Department label the case as cold.
It shouldn't be. So I'm very angry and upset with them. Yep.
This mother wants the justice system to provide for her Justin and not see him for his past or color of his skin. And she'll never give up searching for that justice. The current McLennan County District Attorney Josh Teton says the grand jury no-billed the case in 2018, typically meaning they didn't find enough evidence. That happened well before Teton's time, and his office has received nothing new from Waco Police Department. Teton says they welcome new information and encourage those who know something to contact Waco Police. This next case is out of Killeen, and police need your help solving what started as a missing person case. No one knows what happened to Michael Havcos, and more importantly, where Michael is. Those are just two questions his little sister won't stop asking until she gets those answers.
That's all I had left, and now he's missing, so it's hard.
Sarah Hawley hasn't lost hope.
And just to know what happened to him, I mean, that's all I can say. It's hard to explain it when you haven't been through it.
She's been looking for her older brother, Michael Havcos, anticipating she'll maybe hear from him.
I would think that if he really just wanted to leave and go somewhere else, that he still, even, after a couple years, would have contacted me, we'd never gone Christmases without speaking or birthdays.
Over the years, Sarah's helped take care of Michael, who has intellectual disabilities and has never met a stranger.
Quiet, I would say friendly, maybe a little too trusting.
The latter trait could possibly even be what made the 52-year-old go missing.
This is where Michael was staying. He stayed here for a couple months after his sister found he was homeless. She put him up here in room 220 on the second floor, and this was the last known location that we had of him.
Detective Jonathan Fireball with the Killeen Police Department's investigation starts with the Day and Night Inn on Veterans Memorial Boulevard. It's where Michael disappeared from, leaving many of his belongings behind.
It looked like someone knocked on the door, and he got up and went out with whoever it was, because his pants were still sitting on the chair with a belt.
And his hearing aids and glasses that he couldn't be without.
The hotel he was staying at has some big fields around it, some big wooded areas and stuff like that. So they put up drones and started searching.
But no sign of Michael, and nearly 3 years later, the search has no end.
It has been a long time, and we've been looking for a long time.
Killeen Police Department have put up flyers, posted on social media, and tried to track down those who knew the missing man. Like his ex-girlfriend, who lived with Michael before he became homeless.
She had access to his finances, all that, so that's definitely somebody I need to speak with, I'd like to find.
Recent tips have given Fireball a new lead, one he can't ignore. One that may suggest that Michael's trusting nature got him mixed with the wrong crowd.
If he did get mixed up with some people who were using him as, for his identity and using, his ID, having him use his ID to open up accounts or open up online banking accounts, and how that would lead to him missing, I don't know.
But Fireball says these tips haven't led to any new developments, and hopes this story about Michael will generate some new leads and finally give answers that Sarah's been searching for.
I mean, I'm always going to push, so hopefully, yeah.
Detective Fireball was able to get in contact with the ex-girlfriend, but KPD still needs more information to help crack the case. 2025 marks 40 years since the final time a family would see their 11-year-old girl. It was July of 1985 when Angelica Gandera never returned from a visit to Grandma's. The family told me they haven't given up on finding answers, while investigators believe there are answers out there. The home you grow up in holds fond memories. At least that's the case for most people. For Laura Mendoza, sitting on her family's lawn brings other feelings.
When she first disappeared, we would just stay outside. We were hardly even inside. We'd be outside just looking.
It's the place where she hopes one day her younger sister will return to.
She's got a whole family here waiting for her.
Because 38 years ago, she never made it home.
The only place she would go would be my grandmother's house.
On July 14th, 1985, 11-year-old Angelica Gandera skipped the trip to the family ranch to do just that. Walking these streets of Temple, not knowing it would be her last trip to Grandma's.
It was very devastating, very hard.
It's not, every day that, an 11-year-old child just completely disappears, from a city and it's never been heard of for 38 years.
Temple Police Deputy Chief Jeff Clark is leading the investigation of the missing girl.
This is one of 4. This is the case file on Angelica Gandera.
A case that stumped his predecessors for decades.
Due to the age of Angelica, being an 11-year-old, that, obviously we suspect that there was some sort of foul play that led to her disappearance.
But no one really knows, and Temple Police have very little to work with.
To our knowledge, there is no one that witnessed her actual disappearance. And so there was never any sort of a crime scene located, so there was no evidence found.
There have been few leads over the last 38 years, including a questionable vehicle and 2 suspects. But one stuck out the most. Convicted child serial killer David Penton. Penton lived in Bell County around the time of Angelica's disappearance and was found guilty of killing 5 children. He sits behind bars in Ohio, and that's where he reportedly bragged about his killing streak.
They conducted several interviews of David Penton himself, and during all interviews, he was adamant that he had nothing to do with the disappearance of Angelica.
Leading detectives to another dead end.
I guess it's been frustrating because they actually have never been able to actually connect any kind of evidence.
The Gandera family has no answers on what happened to the baby of the family.
We don't know anything from the first day she disappeared to this day.
Their sweet but timid Angelica, who would now be 49 years old, wanted to grow up and be a teacher. Angelica's mom, Olivia Gandera, says it's been difficult and each day feels like the first. She holds on to this photo. Hoping her daughter knows how much she's loved. And her dad says he wants to give Angelica a proper resting place. It's the fate that the entire family has been forced to settle with, but there is still hope, as Temple Police Department hasn't closed the case.
Truly want to bring some sort of resolve and closure for Angelica and her family.
Clark says they're considering sending detectives to revisit with David Penton in prison.
To at least attempt another interview to see if maybe he, would be willing to give us any kind of information.
The Gandera family believes justice will catch up to whoever harmed their Angelica.
I'm hopeful that we'll get answers someday. I really don't expect her to be alive, to be quite honest, in my heart.
Temple Police Department says there is no update on Angelica's case. This year marks 11 years since a Bell County woman was murdered on a rural road near the Bell and McClellan County line. Her case has gone cold, leaving her family without answers for more than a decade. Investigators are more determined than ever to find any new leads in Patricia Aon's case and help bring the family a step closer to justice. Down a rural road in the northern part of Bell County, a gruesome discovery started a family's worst nightmare.
What we knew is that a citizen was on his way to work and was driving down 2601 and saw her body.
Patricia Aon, a beloved family member who enjoyed making others laugh, was left dead with a gunshot wound to the head. She was a 45-year-old who was fighting to get her life right, just for it to be taken away.
Maybe she had troubles, but not to where you can take her life from her, take her away from her kids, take her away from her grandkids.
Corey Powell with the Bell County Sheriff's Department is the lead investigator on the case.
She hadn't been out there for an extended period of time, so we're only looking like a couple of hours.
Powell believes Aguillon was killed on the side of the road as a shell casing was found at the scene.
Doesn't mean some other criminal act wasn't being committed to get her there.
This case is one Powell has been familiar with since the August day it happened, as he chased down leads under a different agency, some that led investigators to a person of interest.
Person of interest is known to us, and now it's following up. Are we there yet? No. Do I think the public knows things? I do.
Powell says he's from Temple and involved in a street gang. He's behind bars right now, but time is running out.
And it's about justice for Patty, closure for the family, but he's gonna make bond.
With 10 years passing since Aguillon's murder, and with little forensic evidence in the case, Powell needs people to come forward to hopefully bring answers to the family.
That one little piece of information you may have may help us down the road.
This is another case where investigator Powell is hopeful future DNA testing can move the case forward. It's considered the only long-term runaway that Killeen Police has on file who's never been found. The case of Deanna Maryfield, a 13-year-old who reportedly left home voluntarily 35 years ago. I talked to detectives about the potential theories behind the missing girl and why closure is still needed today. This photo of Deanna Maryfield is an image burned in the minds of her loved ones. At 13 years young, she's frozen in time. But Christy Andrews can envision differently.
I never expected in my life to be using art to help find missing children or help identify deceased children.
She's a forensic artist with the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children organization, tasked with creating age progression images, including this one of Deanna, of what she might have looked like now in her mid-40s.
These are hope-based images that bring the family hope. We don't ever want to lose that because that's giving up.
She does it for people like Melissa Twardowski.
I think it is hard to heal.
Deanna's youngest sister, who has been searching for answers for 34 years.
As we get older, you're just like, are we ever gonna know?
In 2024, Deanna's life remains a mystery, like her case at Killeen Police Department outlines.
The only long-term runaway that we have on file that's never been found.
Detective Kevin Laudensack and the Killeen Police Department have been trying to locate Deanna for over 3 decades. As a Killeen teenager, Deanna left home in the middle of the night on July 22, 1990, with no belongings, and reportedly hopped in a car with 2 males.
I just can't imagine as a parent, not looking for my child. If Killeen Police was told, she ran away, she was a rebellious girl, which we all knew she was rebellious. If that's what they have to go on, that's what they're gonna go on.
Typically, with this amount of time, something would pop up.
But the search has come up empty.
It's overwhelming. I mean, you could tell a lot of work, a lot of man hours have gone into this, and a lot of different leads have been tracked down.
This thick binder stores all the information surrounding Deanna's case, including her twin Rebecca's statement about the last time she saw her sister, the same night she disappeared. Deanna left her home on Alamo Avenue and showed up where the twin was staying, the Trailer Park neighborhood on Dimple Street.
Rebecca actually went under hypnosis to recall stuff from that night.
The conversation brief, then Deanna vanished, never seen again. But not exactly without a trace. There was a puzzling call in 1992 to the twin.
The collect call did happen. When the call was placed, the operator identified the caller as Deanna, but when the call was answered, there was no voice and the person hung up.
Still, police and Deanna's sisters can't catch a break.
There is a theory that because she had a troubled childhood, she left voluntarily to start a new life and to get away and doesn't want to be found. But there is a possibility that, something more sinister has happened.
But from a sister that knows her best.
No way she couldn't find us if she wanted to. I can't really wrap my head around her still being alive.
There is a sense of lost hope, which motivates Andrews to unfreeze her in time and keep Deanna's case current.
And we want to take the time and the care to create an image that's thoughtful and is going to help one hopefully recover them if somebody recognizes the image.
To ensure she's not stuck in 1990 with a pain still fresh.
Sometimes not knowing what happened, that wound stays open.
Since our story originally aired, Melissa has found a new fire in getting answers about what happened to Deanna. She started a Facebook page in hopes to get more eyes on the case. She also held a candlelight vigil on the anniversary of her sister's disappearance. After years of waiting for the right time, a North Texas couple is publicly talking about what it's like to live without their son. Seth Ward was murdered in Killeen in the summer of 2019, but still today, no one has been arrested in the case. Detectives talked with me about what it will take to bring justice for Seth's family, who hasn't given up on getting answers.
He was always the life of the party.
33 years old and full of life.
Really a good dad when he was around.
Yeah, he loved being a dad.
A father of 3, a brother, a son.
He was always wanting to help people.
A man who never met a stranger.
Never met an enemy. He could talk to a brick wall and make a friend out of it.
Who would want Seth Ward dead?
Just saying that he was murdered, that's so hard to just say.
It's a nightmare that Seth's sister, Hannah Ward, has lived with for 5 years.
Just ripped away so quickly. Didn't get a chance to say goodbye. I just immediately broke down, calling all of his friends just to let him know, because they were so close with him too.
One of Seth's best friends, Zachary Chiba, said Seth was in his life for as long as he can remember.
Didn't get the opportunity to grow old with him, and we should have been 70 talking about all the stupid stuff we did when we were kids and how we survived it.
On June 30th, 2019, Seth was found in his truck in a Killeen field.
Clear Creek Road and Golden Gate. There's this field right here. And Seth's truck, where this is here, minus the police cars, this is where it was when a resident was driving by and saw the truck sitting there and called in for this suspicious vehicle.
Left to die after being stabbed.
I don't believe that it occurred in the field, this stabbing. There's a very high likelihood of another crime scene.
Killeen Police Detective Jonathan Fireball is the third person assigned to this case.
The case that we have, it is a strong case.
So strong, Killeen Police have 2 suspects.
One of them is a little more cooperative than the other one. I'm kind of hoping that the more uncooperative one does the right thing.
A pair that Seth hung out with in Killeen.
He was with a crowd of people he shouldn't have been. And not thinking clearly, not realizing that he had people that loved him that he should have been around.
Seth's case has made it to the district attorney's office before. It was sent back to police to get more evidence each time.
The one thing that we don't necessarily have is those 2 individuals standing up and taking ownership, taking responsibility.
Fireball says 3 DNA profiles were found in Seth's truck. Seth's and the 2 suspects. But it's not enough.
DNA alone is not the smoking gun. DNA alone can never be the one thing that the case relies on. People evidence or people's testimony is still huge.
It's why he's talking to us, hoping the community can help justice be served.
It's been a little discouraging with how slowly things have gone, and I really hope that the people of Killeen will know that if our son can be forgotten, their kids can be forgotten.
John and Kim Ward have been their son's biggest advocates, refusing to give up.
About the only thing we have to hope for is that there will be justice served, that his kids will know that his life mattered.
They're raising Seth's 3 young kids who only have doubt in the judicial system.
I want his kids to see that there's justice. I don't want them to grow up and say, well, gee, people can do this thing and just get away if they just, keep denying it.
Frustration surfacing as the Wards say Seth's case didn't have to go cold.
We feel that so much was not followed up on quickly, that the trail went cold to a large degree.
I'm still hugely disappointed that we don't have the answers yet. And, you know, we don't know if we ever will.
And there is a feeling of hopelessness.
It's just been so long that unless we get something new, I don't see how there's any way we're gonna get justice in this life.
Unless those who know what happened to Seth come forward.
All I need is the people who knew Seth, the people who know what happened, to step up and talk to me about it. And then I can get this case prosecuted.
Killeen police say since the story originally aired, they have received new information. They are hopeful they will reach a conclusion in the near future. We've looked at many cases that remain unsolved, showing time is of the essence for many families. There is one Central Texas family who had to wait 13 years to receive any sign of hope for justice. Thanks to DNA evidence that was found at the scene of a murder and advanced technology, a man has been charged in a 2011 cold case. 6 News first broke this story when the arrest was announced in the case of Shaina Walker. For 2 years, investigator Corey Powell with the Bell County Sheriff's Department has been hopeful to make a call.
It's just overwhelming that when she says, I didn't think this call would ever come.
On March 6, 2024, he got to deliver the news that a man has been arrested in the murder of Shaina Walker, a 26-year-old who hasn't had justice for 13 years. Shaina was found dead on Quarry Road outside of Killeen with multiple stab wounds. Powell says there was one piece of evidence left at the scene that turned the death into a murder case.
And that glove was important to find hers and his DNA on it.
After DNA testing was done at the Texas Department of Public Safety lab in Waco, Powell says they were able to connect Alvin Dwayne Canton to the crime.
Back in this time frame of 2011, he was known to law enforcement with arrest. When Shaina labs were put in, we got a CODIS hit.
Powell's investigation shows Shaina was most likely killed somewhere else, rather than Rural Road.
She was disposed, for lack of a better word, like he just didn't care.
This is Powell's first solved cold case for the Sheriff's Department, and he hopes justice for Shaina won't be the last.
Sometimes I always worry that there's somebody out there that knows something. And sometimes that's all we need, is that one little thing that will help us in a direction to solve these cases.
The suspect, Alvin Canton, was offered a plea deal on record. It's one of the many steps in the judicial process. He didn't accept it at the hearing, and now a jury trial is set for December 2025. Now to a 6 News exclusive. A 25-year-old Austin woman was found dead in Bell County, and today her death remains unsolved. Now the Bell County Sheriff's Office is sharing never-seen surveillance video of Tiara Strand on 6th Street in Austin, the last known footage of her alive.
I miss her hugs. I miss just watching her do her hair and put her makeup on. And
a family mourning for their loved one.
Hardest thing I ever faced in my life, losing a granddaughter.
Found dead at just 25 years old, Tiara Strand had goals in life dedicated to family, especially her young daughter, who will grow up without her mother.
They had a really good bond. She kisses her hand and blows a kiss up to her mom to heaven. So she misses her mom very much.
Missing Tiara and still missing answers 1 year later. A night out on 6th Street in Austin was the last place Tiara was seen. Days after being reported missing, the worst possible news came.
I didn't know what to do. I just kind of froze. I couldn't breathe.
Tiara's body was found in Bell County, 70 miles away from where she was last seen. Bell County investigator Corey Powell is now tasked with figuring out the unknown.
Obviously, if you're in Austin, you end up in Bell County, something bad happened to you.
His investigation starts in downtown Austin.
And right here we have Tiara.
He's releasing never-before-seen footage of the 25-year-old on 6th Street.
We see a multitude of citizens who may have seen something, and they may not even know that they saw something.
Hoping it provides a clue about how Tiara ended up alongside Burger Road.
She didn't just go and lie down and die right where she was found. Someone did that.
A medical examiner couldn't determine a single cause of death because of the condition of her body. But that isn't stopping Powell. He needs eyewitness reports to give the grieving family the answers they're missing.
I'm praying that we find out what happened to her and that we get some justice for her life.
Tiara Strand's case is still open more than 2 years later, and investigators need help. If you know anything, call the Bell County Sheriff's Office or Austin Police. We've been showing you how DNA is changing the game in solving crimes. Now there's a new machine in Central Texas that could take it even further. I went behind the scenes at the Bell County Sheriff's Office where they're unpacking the latest tech that could help catch violent criminals and bring long-awaited justice. In this file cabinet, stories are still waiting for justice. Victims, families, evidence that couldn't speak until now. That's where this new machine comes in. A high-tech vacuum system that's giving old cases a second chance.
Well, the MVAC works just like a carpet cleaner. So it sprays a sterile solution onto the evidence and then applies vacuum pressure at the same time. It creates a little mini hurricane down there for the evidence or for the DNA. So it literally vacuums up the DNA.
Local law enforcement from across Central Texas are training on how to use it, learning the science behind MVAC and how to get the most DNA from even the most difficult evidence.
Really collect 20, 30 times more than what a swab can. This is going to be used where it's on the more difficult cases, and especially where swab has actually not gotten the results.
Corey Powell with the Bell County Sheriff's Office says they already know 5 cases that could benefit from the MVAC.
We want to get the best product to the crime lab to see if the profile is there of an offender.
The training may only last a couple days, but the impact could be decades in the making.
Basically, it's another tool that we didn't have. Obviously, I would say that if you've committed a crime and you're the offender, that you may have got away with it this long, but we're coming.
The Bell County Sheriff's Office says they already know 5 cases that are compatible for the MVAC system, some of which that have been featured in this special. The agencies using the MVAC will send their filtered samples to the Waco DPS lab for processing, with the hope of getting clearer DNA profiles and new leads. Taking a look at some other Central Texas cold cases, Waco police hope these sketches will help identify a man whose body was found back in 2008. His remains were discovered in a vacant field off Cherry Street. Investigators say he was likely a white male around 50 years old and 5'5", possibly homeless and living in a tent at the time. No signs of foul play were found, but DNA testing hasn't led to any matches. Waco's cold case detectives are now turning to forensic genealogy and the public for help. If you recognize him, call Waco Police Department at 254-750-7619. Now to another Killeen cold case. It's been nearly 6 years since 27-year-old Christopher Rivers Jr. was killed in a hit and run in Killeen. His family is still waiting for answers. Police say on November 8, 2019, Rivers was walking along Twin Creek Drive when he was hit by a green pickup truck. The driver never stopped. Rivers went into cardiac arrest multiple times and was later taken off life support. No one has ever been arrested, and this is what Christopher's mom told me in 2023.
Those little tips will help the authorities do their job even better, but it's going to take a village, right? And to my brothers and sisters in arms, the military, I need your help, right? In helping, provide as much information as you can to help, get closure for my son.
Killeen police and Crime Stoppers are still taking tips. You can remain anonymous. After 8 years of unanswered questions, Belton police finally closed a 2014 murder case in 2022, but say no arrest will ever be made. Investigators say 62-year-old John Hill was killed by Jeremy Sider, who had long been their main suspect. But for years, police didn't have enough evidence to charge him. That changed only after Sider died, when members of his family came forward with the information that detectives needed to close the case.
I believe that's our worst fear, that this person will never be found and arrested and convicted. So if you want to talk about fear, That's the fear.
Peggy Jackson shared that fear with us back in 2019, and for her family, it became reality. If you recognize a case or have any information that could help, reach out to your local law enforcement. Even the smallest detail could make a difference in a case. And if you want to dive deeper into the stories we've covered or explore more unsolved cases across Central Texas, head on over to kcentv.com/gone cold. This series may be wrapping up, but our coverage is not. We'll continue to shine a light on the cases that still deserve answers.